You are now live. You can go.
Okay, so call the meeting to order. It's not quite 11. Yeah, I got 11 on my phone.
Want me to do roll call?
Yep.
Bob Olson, John Nicholson,
Yes.
Mike Copine,
Yes.
Jim Sheeline, Chris Norberg,
He's here. He's coming.
He's on.
Here.
Doug Farster,
Here.
Marilyn Shippert, Tom Wilson.
Here.
Arlen McLean.
Thank you.
Arla McLean,
For
Marlon McLean.
taking over for Jim Sheeline. Jim Sheeline's getting suntan, I guess. I don't know. Okay, we have no visitors. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month? Any corrections or additions? Stand approved as read then. Okay, in there are your claims from last, well, there's Charlie, is Charlie back?
no,
I don't think we have any executive, but we'll get to that later. Under review of the claims, everybody can see the claims there. Just need a motion to approve the claims by Mike Copine, second by Tom Wilson. All in favor, or any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Reports from the committee chairs, I guess, start out with Doug. Is Doug here? I say committee chairs, start out with Doug. You're the first one on a Monday.
I'm sorry about that. He finally just got into the meeting.
he's trying to use this darn
Got to do the
technology.
formalities.
Yeah, exactly. Get through the formality. We met, of course, this past Monday down in Amboy. Not much new to report, really. Everything's, since we don't have to have the recommendations anymore for claims.
Yeah.
Maryland's group takes care of that, so, no, nothing new to report.
Okay.
As far as transportation, we were discussing, I guess, taking a road trip on the way coming up. We haven't done it for years to check out the various projects throughout the county. Road projects, the electronics, I guess I do have some more, but electronics is up and running, the recycling, that's working well. Or the fellow, our county engineer, Dave said the fellow they have running that this year is doing a fine job. So everything other than that, nothing new.
Any questions for Doug?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Secondly would be Tom. Oh, yes, Tom.
Tuesday, everything went great. They were put some air conditioners on both buildings, but we moved along some of the other projects, getting some things ready to go put up the bid. But other than that, everything was
Any questions for Tom? And I skipped Chris. Chris, you want to give your report on ad services?
Yeah, I was unable to attend the meeting, but you guys should have the minutes. I watched it on Zoom and YouTube. Not much discussed. Got any questions? I'm happy to answer, but pretty easy meeting.
We're having a little technical problem hearing you, but is there anything else?
No, I have nothing else.
Okay, any questions for Chris? Okay, then Mike for public safety.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Public Safety met yesterday morning, 9 o'clock here in this room, relatively short and sweet meeting also. Approved the previous meeting minutes. As far as old business, there were some comments by the department heads that were present. The only action that we had taken, there were 3 resolutions, 2 surrounding the 2 fire departments with board member appointments. And then also the most important one was, well, they're all important, but the one out of the 3 was the sweeping of funds from 911 money across the state is going to have a major impact if that gets passed and moves on. We're going to see some hurdles that'll need to be jumped over here locally as well as the rest of them throughout the state. So that was passed at the public safety and moved forward also. Other than that, there was a few other comments and not a real lengthy meeting.
That resolution is going to be on our exec, it's number 7 down under the resolution, so. Very important one. I mean, I hope everybody's in favor of that because that cripples us on a small county area. Okay, and Mr. McLean, you sat in for Jim Sheeline today.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. We approved a lot of stuff that was approved before. Major things are, the theater, approved $100,000. Second, we approved money increase for zoning, $20 starting, I think, July 1. Is that correct?
June 1st.
June 1st.
And we did the board increase when the new board takes effect, more than $80. Other than that, there was a lot of, we had Jason Anderson approve money requested for the grant match. And a lot of interruptions from tabling. That's all I think we relevant.
I'm almost afraid to ask for questions. Does anybody have any questions for Arlen?
I don't have any answer.
Marilyn?
Moving along fine. We had several departments send a representative to see our end of it. We wrote off them on how they're putting it, and I will send that information again. The departments that haven't sent a rep, please do so. I think it's very helpful for you to know what we're looking at.
Marilyn, at last Friday's department head meeting, I also extended that invitation, so.
Okay. Under old business, Wendy, I'm going to let you take this one on the resolution setting the circuit clerk salary. We
Sure.
talked about that.
So last month, this was on the full board agenda. It moved from finance to the full board agenda. However, when we got to the full board agenda, there was a little confusion, kind of like today at finance, in that the motion was made to approve the salary changes for the treasurer and county clerk. There was a second resolution for the circuit clerk, and that did not get acted upon. So I'm just looking for this committee's action to move it again to the county board so the county board can approve it. The dollar amount is identical to what was approved for the circuit, or excuse me, the county clerk and the treasurer, and it's set for 4 years.
Okay, do we have a second, Mike? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Under new business, the Mass Transit District resolution, Charlie's not here. Have you heard anything from him? on
I have
that?
not. So this got added at Bob's request on the agenda because he was under the understanding that there was something that was time sensitive about our process of creating that separate mass transit district. And so he said, put it on the agenda as a placeholder. And I never heard anything in addition to that. So it's here as a placeholder, but I don't have anything more to put forward on it. I don't have any more information. We were hoping Charlie could help us with that. If he comes in later in the meeting, maybe we can circle back to that. Otherwise, there's no action needed on this one as of right now, because I'm not sure what I'm asking you to take action on.
That is coming up. It is, I don't know how time sensitive some of that stuff may or may not be, because Brian Brim and his counterpart up in Ogle County are kind of writing that mass transit district up. I asked Greg about it each time and he says basically what I just said. And so we're proceeding, but the state is really slow. And I think it's being set for June of 2024 now, probably.
2023, as far as I know, is still the
2023.
target. And that's because we have to work in conjunction with the state's fiscal year, which is July, so we want to make
Yes.
have everything in place before July 1st of 2023.
Per diem reporting and approval. And this is another thing.
Yeah,
that's-
I'll take that also. So Becky and I have gone back and forth on this the last few months with all the new technology and onboard and everything. We are having to change some of our processes. So one thing that got changed was we inadvertently dropped off of some agendas at executive committee in particular, the idea of approving the per diem reports. So we're rectifying that. But while we were doing it and talking about it, what we talked about is it would be cleaner for us on the admin side for Becky who tracks it if we could do this on a beginning of the month to the end of the month period. So in other words, what we're proposing is that beginning May 1st and through the end of May, all per diems from all of your meetings would be gathered on a single reporting form. That single reporting form would then move forward to this committee and ultimately the full board for approval in June. And then upon approval, that's when you get paid for your per diem. It'll be cleaner for us than what we're doing now, which is a hodgepodge of a little bit from this month and a little bit from that month. And it's just hard to keep track of who's been paid for what meetings, quite honestly. Becky does a great job of that, but it gets complicated. So what we're proposing to do and what we wanted to bring to your attention so you were aware of it is that for this month, you've already been technically paid for your count up through your county board meeting last month. So what we're talking about here is deferring anything that happened after the county board meeting last month and going forward, and all of that would be put on the May per diem report. So anything trailing off in March or April, excuse me, and then all of May would go on a report that then you would approve in June, and then you get paid after that. So the transition process means you're going to be a little off your normal cycle of getting your per diems, and we're just essentially looking for a head nod that you're okay with that. Yes, so technically, if it's going to be approved at the June executive committee meeting and then forwarded on to the board in June, it will get paid at the first payroll after that, or the first payroll in July is what it boils down to. So you're going to go a 6-week period without seeing any per diems. And so we wanted to make you aware of that and make sure there was no challenges or issues or concerns about that. Does anybody really care? Yes, but yes, because that's what we're tracking. You're tracking zoning board, and correct, yes. So you could do that too if you wanted to, but yeah, we're talking about county board. Yeah, so we realized that the reporting that Becky gathers, nobody ever sees it and approves it. And you technically at the end of every board meeting, full board meeting, say, yeah, motion to approve all the mileage and per diem, but you have no report of what you're approving. So this is one of the things we're trying to rectify and get solidified and document so that when you're approving the per diems, you're approving a specific, these are the per diems we're paying for this month, this list, these board members. Yeah, so it's all about how do we get the report in front of you, get your approval of this committee and full board, and then that's what's kind of triggering the schedule. I'm seeing a lot of people looking at me like, really?
So we essentially, everything will be cleaned up this month, and then in June, we'll skip a month and get everything back on the.
So you won't get paid another per diem check until the first payroll in July.
Right.
And then you'll always be a month behind. There'll be a month delay in this, but it'll be a lot cleaner.
So we'll get a per diem check in June for May, but then no.
Nothing. And that's part of our transition process, John. You won't. Everybody's okay with that?
Everybody
If I have any,
Need or want a motion? toward
no,
that?
we're just looking for a head nod. We wanted to make sure you were aware of it so that Becky and I aren't making those kinds of executive decisions without your knowledge.
Well, I agree with it. I'll just eat a hot dog one time and a hamburger the next.
Right,
time.
right.
There you
That
go.
can of beans
All right.
will just have to last for another time.
All right, John, that's all I have on that.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions on it? It's pretty cut and dried, really. The next thing is a resolution. Statutorily, we have to approve the certified list of judges of election for Republicans and Democrats. If you look, it's in your onboard and you can go through the list.
This is an every other year statutorily required thing from Nancy's election department. Nancy's not here today, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to attempt to.
Anybody have any questions?
Any
on
questions
that?
on that?
Do we
We
need
are,
a-
we do need to, this one does need approval,
Yeah, we need a
because it
mo-
was not at admin, so we need a motion and a second and approval to move this on to the county board.
Catch that? Mr. Forster made the motion, Mr. Copine seconded it. Any questions on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Assume Tom's not, he doesn't care. Okay. No appointments, raffle reports. First one is for Paw Lions Club. I believe it's probably in the onboard.
Yep, both these reports are in onboard. These are the typical raffle reports. The clerk collects these and reports them to you. And we are looking for a motion to approve those reports.
Just as always, we need a motion to approve the second one would be from last weekend's car show. So you got two of them there. Need a motion to approve both those. Mr. McLean, second by Mr. Forster. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody, any questions or anything? And
John,
then
did you
the-
just approve both of those at the same time? That's fine.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we
Yeah.
didn't miss anything.
Then the review and approval of the per diem report, that was pretty much covered in
So-
what Wendy just said. to
Right,
say.
so there is no report this month, but we're putting it as a placeholder for future.
Charlie's not here. I'm unaware of any executive session. And then the next thing would be the county board agenda items. You can scroll down through that. And there's no petitions going to the zoning board or going to the planning commission. You will see there's 4 petitions coming from the zoning board. Okay. Okay,
So just to reiterate, because Becky doesn't have a mic, the only petitions that are really moving forward are 90 and 92. The others were here again as a placeholder, not knowing what would move forward from zoning. So we'll remove those from your full board agenda, the other 2.
do you still need a motion to have them go to the board agenda? We're just gonna. have
Right,
a Motion at the end rather than.
a motion for the
motions
whole
for each
agenda.
Of these. If you have questions, shout it out, but otherwise we'll go down through this. It's pretty simplified compared to what it used to be when everything was on paper. That's for the better. It just takes getting used to. So you get on and you'll see that there's the administrator update, any visitors or guest speakers, approval of county officers' reports. Under the old business, there's a resolution setting the circuit clerk salary, which we just covered. Purchasing policy ordinance, which was handled by the finance committee. The animal control ordinance, has that been pulled?
Yes, that was officially tabled at properties earlier this week, so we will remove that from the agenda.
Okay. And the budget adjustment for approved wages. Another petition held over from February. Which one is that?
So, yeah, so at the full board meeting, this was tabled. This was the resolution, no, actually ordinance that moved the money for the raises for the union and non-union employees out of contingencies and into the various budgets. It got tabled at the full board meeting. So it's back on the agenda for you to make a decision at full board, whether you're going to take it off the table or not.
Okay, then under new business, the ARPA request, I'm sorry. That's what we just talked about.
Petition 22
22 PC.
PC 66. This is one that got inadvertently left off at board a couple of months ago. So
I just.
number five, item number 5
I
under.
read number 4. That's what Wendy was explaining.
Yeah, number 5, I just read out loud what it was and,
Yeah.
and the reason that it's on the agenda is because it got inadvertently left off a couple of meetings ago. So we're trying to rectify that.
Okay. Then under new business, the ARPA funding recommendations, those were handled in finance this morning. The one for the sheriff's department, I had distraction about that time. That was approved to come out of the 1.1 in undistributed funds.
That's the recommendation out of finance, yes.
Okay. Reading down, you got revised motor fuel tax, maintenance appropriation. Next one is a stipulated agreement with the ICC, with the highway department. Doug, you're all aware of these. Is Dave coming to give explanation? Is Dave gonna be here to give an explanation if we
I
need it?
believe so, yes.
Okay, okay.
I'll double check on that though.
Okay. Then we have a couple resolutions. One was handled in finance this morning on county board member compensation. Number 5 is zoning board appeals, planning commission compensation. 6 is setting that salary for the circuit clerk. And then Mike, number 7 would be the resolution to support ESTB 9/11. Do you have any comments on that other than what was discussed in public safety? Make everybody aware. Under appointments, you got Jim Smith to the Lee County Board of Review, Judy Truckenbrough to the Farmland Assessment Committee. Same with Mr. Sheeline to the Farmland Assessment Review Committee. Mark Appelquist to the Franklin Grove Fire Protection District. Edwin Lilia to the Amboy Fire Protection District. Is there any executive session coming up, Charlie? Okay, good stuff.
So D points out that there were some resolutions that came out of properties for extending moratoriums on the wind, solar,
Yeah.
and battery storage, which I don't see on our agenda, so those came out of properties, and so we will add those to the agenda.
Is
Thanks
everybody-
for keeping on top of
Yeah,
us, Steve.
Tom, do you want to cover those? The ones, the moratorium extension.
Yeah, wind, solar, and battery storage, so there's 3 of them. Yeah, we just. To September 1st.
They were all 3 months to September 1st, yeah.
We started working. We need to, we're doing it right.
Well, I think the one ordinance is the battery powered one, and that's one we decided to cover first. Is that correct? And they're in the process of writing that and starting on the other 2. And that's why we need the moratorium. So is everybody understanding what we're doing there? I mean, Dee, do you have anything more, or Alice, do you have anything more to add?
So with your permission, then we will add those to the agenda when you make the motion to approve the agenda. It's with the inclusion of those 3 and one more. The candidates for judge of election that Nancy brought forward did not come out of any committee, but you just voted on it here a few minutes ago. We will make sure and add that under new business as well.
Charlie arrived, and Wendy, what were we gonna ask Charlie?
We actually got a comment back from Bob on that. So I think Bob had asked us to put the Mass Transit District as a
Oh, right.
placeholder on, thinking that there was something time sensitive, but we've now heard back from him that says we do not need that now. So we're going to
Nothing.
scratch that, John. Thank you.
Okay, very good. And then we're down, there's no executive session for Charlie, at least as of right now. And the rest is cut and dried. It's been there forever. So Charlie, do you have anything to add coming in late? Okay, does anybody else have anything to add while we're all here? I need a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting next Thursday. Mr. Forster, first. Mr. McLean, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I think we just,
Do we need to? Hold on, we think we might have
Yeah.
one more thing that we need to make sure is included, and I'm not sure what. I don't remember what she talked about yesterday. Sorry, guys.
Had to spend some quality time with this.
You're gonna work up a sweat walking back and forth, Charlie.
Gonna get my steps. What do you say, guys?
Have to build that tunnel there for you. Hang on one second. They're still talking about something else might have to
So
be on the agenda.
do we need?
And I gave you that.
So sorry, guys, there is one more thing, and I think we need Alice or Dee to explain what it is. It was discovered after committee meetings, so it didn't get through committee, so.
Grab a mic and explain it to us. Here.
She just needs a mic.
What do you want me to do?
Just give an overview of it. It'll be on the agenda.
Sauk Valley Hydrogen recently was approved for a special use for an 845 kilowatt solar project that is basically an accessory use to their green hydrogen system. As part of the ordinance, they're required to post financial security, and they are going to be requesting potentially a letter of credit in lieu of an escrow account for the decommissioning financial security for that project. Does anyone have any questions?
Does anybody? If not, it will come under from the zoning board. It was approved by the zoning board under, okay. Everybody understand that? Okay, then I go back to that motion to approve the agenda.
Or
For
just
next Thursday.
make a motion to, add this to the
add
agenda
it
that's
to
already
it.
been approved.
Okay, but it's been added already. So now I'm to the agenda. So I'm just, okay, we
it
need a
had-
motion to actually do that separately.
Correct.
Okay, then I need a motion to add that particular zoning item to the agenda under new business.
So
Mr.
moved.
Copine, second by Ms. Schibert. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Feel like Arlen. Okay, now I need that motion to approve this agenda for next